Go Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Are we quite confident that there's no Purelator truck outside?
No, it's blinds down day.
Is it blind? Oh, it's blind down day.
Yeah.
We're good. Oh, okay. So the weekday shows blinds up day.
No, it just goes with the wind.
Whatever
you know?
Jesse, the visor, Blake.
It's
decides.
whatever the wind tells me. I listen to it each morning. I get out my wind stick. I raise it to the sky, and whichever way it blows, it tells me what to do with the blinds.
Jesse, can you paint with all the colors of the mountain?
Colors of the wind, Adam.
You gotta.
Damn it.
You gotta.
Haven't you ever seen Pocahontas or owned Lion King on VHS?
Steve, you were really excited about something today. There's something you're missing right now that's happening on YTV.
Yeah.
Oh,
By the way, YTV, for everybody who doesn't know, is Canada's Nickelodeon.
Yes, essentially.
basically, except cooler. And they used to have a host named Phil, and it was great. And Video and Arcade Top 10. And today,
great.
they have a Toy Story marathon, and I'm friggin' missing it to do this show, and it's garbage.
Now, if only one could get Toy Story on demand,
You couldn't possibly.
could do a marathon.
You
if
couldn't.
could only get it on demand.
Couldn't be me.
Well, Disney Plus isn't out yet,
True.
so
Yeah,
we don't.
idiot.
But you can always buy it on like Apple.
All right.
On iTunes, they have a
this is
download.
2019.
You can rent it,
I
man.
don't buy things.
Yeah, well,
know.
you would buy. You're buying a digital thing, right?
Yeah.
You're a
I
digital
just-
thing.
Listen, there's something different. There's something about watching a marathon on TV that more justifies your cereal eating
I
and
know.
pajama wearing.
I know. There's like an hour added onto it because of the commercials. That's what's different.
That's what's different.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Listen, all right? I'm going to be a boomer about this and say that television's better.
No,
I'm going to say it. Back in my day.
No.
Back in my day.
That's a tough take, man. Is that
Yeah.
the road you want to go
Back
down?
in my day, and this is how I changed the channel. I had the remote. My Nona used to have like this box with a switch on it.
She had the joystick remote?
No, not even joystick. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It looked like this thing. It was it was a rectangle, basically. It was a giant box, and it had like this little lever on it, starting at like channel 1 and then channel 30 or whatever, and you'd
Wow.
go grrr, grrr.
My parents had a TV at our cottage that had only 13 channel inputs. So you could only get... Now, at the cottage, you could get 2 channels back then.
Right.
Because we had an antenna. But you'd have to like go up to the TV and switch them.
CBC
we
and
had
what?
We had a CBC and I think like a fuzzy global.
Or
out of Ottawa.
TVO. TVO was always one of the.
Yeah, because you had to get TVO,
Yeah.
right? TVO and CBC you have to get no matter
That's a
what.
public broadcaster as well, right?
Yes,
And-
it is.
Gotta have
It
shows
is.
about sock puppets at the cottage.
True. And in the basement, I don't know what it was about everybody's basement back then, but they always had the TV with the wood around it.
Oh,
The
dude,
big.
I had that.
So you opened it up and or you turned it on and went thunk. Boing, and like the screen just like it was this loud
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like anyway, we're sounding real old
I remember
right now.
video games. You had to change it to channel 3
Yes!
when you turned it on.
Yes!
There was no HDMI
Nope.
input. It's just
Nope.
channel 3.
I remember the first time I had to do an input. I was like, "What?
Yeah.
I have to do what?"
You ever had to blow into a cartridge?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
A bunch of people watching are like, "What's a cartridge?"
Hey, those were when games had slow load times. Like the load times were non-existent. The Nintendo games were amazing for that.
You ever have a game that took too long to load, and you're like, "All right, well, I know that's too long, so I'm gonna turn it off and start over."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that.
Now games can load literally, like if you're in a big world like GTA, they're loading in real time around you. You're
Yes.
just walking through the world. You don't even realize
It's wild.
it. Yeah.
That was my
Wow.
biggest contention with Grand Theft Auto 5, by the way, is just the load times were so bad.
Yeah.
But they fixed it with Red Dead Redemption 2. It's
Red
pretty
Dead
good.
Redemption 2. Okay, so there's a guy. So there's obviously Clickbait guy who we talked about. There's another guy I think is
What happens when you shoot guy you can't shoot in the game?
What happens is you cannot do the thing this video is about.
What I love about that is he got like 500,000 views for that.
He's legitimately rich off of lies, like just
There's a lot
lies.
of
He's not
people
the
like
only one.
that. Yeah.
There's an
that's
entire
it.
channel dedicated to a guy who's traveled back from the future. Apparently.
That is at least performance art and not just
It is
wasting
performance art.
people's time. There's another guy named Fizzy who, like, all he does is video-
Fizzy?
I think it's Fizzy. Like
Fizzy.
Fizhy, I think.
Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
And all he does is like video game videos, and a lot of them are about Red Dead Redemption 2. And he's been making them for I don't even know how long. I guess the year that the video game has been out. And he's like, hey, so there's this cabin that I didn't know existed and just discovered. Because the map is just so ridiculously vast.
Yeah.
Right.
How did we get here?
I think we should start making NHL videos about things you can't do in NHL. Like, hey, here's how you can bring on a basketball onto NHL and throw it at the goalie. And then we don't do it in the video.
Vince Carter on the Leafs?
And it's always the YouTube, like,
And he's dunking a puck into a net, into a basket that's on the ice.
There's super goalie mode where you light on fire and you're also the goalie.
Whoa.
And
Is
then we
Austin
don't do
Matthews
it.
actually listening to you when he does that listen celebration?
This game contains my mom.
You can go into the stands and have a hot dog?
What? And it's just very clearly a poorly photoshopped, like Mitch Marner in the third row, like,
With a hot dog that's just huge on his hand.
Mr. Liar, WTF.
You know what, man? It's all about the headlines. Now, let's get to one of them, which is who wore the crown, as we always know. And as we always tell you, live generously and life will treat you royally. Why not pour yourself... Excuse me, Steve. Why not pour yourself a friend...
Why not?
Pour yourself and a friend a crown royal, because we're going to talk about who wore the crown. Every week we do this. Every show we do this, and it's about the player that gives the most for the Leafs in the last game or the last couple of games, depending upon how long it's been since we last did a show. Because you crown the Leaf that lives generously, giving it all for the team. It's brought to you by our friends at Crown Royal. Live generously. Life treats you royally. And let's get into it. Steve!
Who are
you crowning?
There are at least two people, two others, who I think could deserve the crown, but I'm going to go ahead and give one, perhaps a generous one, to Jason Spezza.
I like that.
He keeps taking penalties, and I think Mike Babcock might actually drive him to the moon and leave him there soon. But he finally scored his first as a Leaf last year to tie the game. Last night. He got a very generous assist on the first goal, but an assist nonetheless. And in a shootout where they needed a goal, toot sweet, he scored a beautiful move to remind everyone that even though his feet aren't as quick as they used to be, his hands are beautiful.
Sure are.
No one needed that performance more than Jason Spezza, so I'm going to give it to Jason Spezza.
It's really nice of you, considering Jason Spezza took 2 costly penalties last night.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that a little bit later. Listen, I'm happy to see Jason Spezza doing well.
Did you know he scored that goal, the Mikheyev goal?
I thought it was him.
You thought it was Spezza?
No, I thought it was Mikheyev.
Okay. Because until I woke up this morning, I went to bed thinking that Mikheyev scored that goal.
Well, because the camera went straight to Spezza because the director is just guessing in real time like we are, except they have to make an actual decision, and they decided Spezza.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Soup
And they
will have
guessed
more
right.
opportunities. Spezza might not.
Yeah.
Well,
And we'll get to that. I'm going to give mine to the right-handed defenseman that the Leafs have needed for probably 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. Justin Hall.
Yep, there it is.
Justin Hall is the best right-handed defenseman on the team right now.
And that includes Tyson Barrie.
Yes. Not necessarily skill-wise, but he is the best guy in game action right now, bar none.
Who spent more money this season than Tyson Barrie?
Oh yeah, it's not. Now,
We were talking like $8 million a year.
if he gets like what was it? What Jake Gardner they were saying was going to be a $6 million guy, right?
He could have.
But because
I
of his
think the
back.
Habs offered him that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he took the extra year to go to Carolina and be in a quieter market and all those sorts
And
of
he
things.
waited.
And he waited, which I think the agent would never admit, but I think that hurt him. I think you should have signed the.
It always does.
You don't want to wait past day 3
Because you're no longer dealing with a pool of 31 teams. You're dealing with, I don't know, the 8 that can afford you.
And he also had a back injury at the end of last season, which scared a lot of teams off. But when he was healthy, they were talking last year like he was a $6 or $7 million defenseman. For 5-6 years. Tyson Barrie came into this year, same thing. Now, if Tyson Barrie turns it around, I'm sure he'll be back to.
I bet he will.
But
Yeah.
Tyson Barrie has spent some money.
We were talking about him hitting 60 points, and that ship is very quickly sailing away.
Oh yeah, and you have to wonder. You have to wonder why, because he's playing with, except for last night, playing with the Leafs' best defenseman, Jake Muzzin.
Best defensive defenseman for sure.
Like, he should be allowed to do what Tyson Barrie does, and yet And there's probably a few other things to go around with, but Justin Hall, that should be the focus. Justin Hall has been consistent. He's been great, and he's been the guy that they should have had last year. Now, at the time I was like, is Justin Hall good enough? I remember saying on this show, like, Steve, you were complaining about the fact that he was a ghost, right? He wasn't playing. Like, are you going to use this guy or not?
He wasn't a hockey player.
He wasn't a hockey player, and then he came in, didn't look good, and I said, well, listen, if he doesn't look good, even when he comes in, that's his job. He's got to look good. So however, you were right. Sustained action. The guys looked very, very strong.
I wrote him off.
And somehow...
During the preseason, I wrote him off. He wasn't even an option.
Timashov, too. I'd written Timashov off. Dead wrong.
Yep.
But it's nice to see a guy like him prove that you can work your way back into Mike Babcock's good graces over the course of time. It just takes 18 to 24 months. Now, Justin Hall, you get my
Josh
crown.
Levo, too. It took Josh Levo like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then by the time Babcock was like, oh, he's a good player, he got traded.
Yeah, well, he had to.
I know.
Jesse.
This week.
This must be a tough choice for you.
This is going to be your toughest crown yet.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to do this one.
I struggle with handing out this crown every episode. It's I think about it a lot. I go home. I reference back to the beginning of the podcast. I take out the wind stick. I see where the wind's going, and the wind's always pointing at Willy. Especially after last night.
Okay.
After last night.
When Mike Babcock decided to take the old man Leafs fan take and make Willy his whipping boy.
Boomcock.
Boomcock?
Because he's a boomer.
I think that could be a lot of things. What's wrong
with the name Boomcock?
I think that could be a lot of things, Steve.
I think out of context, that could be problematic. But anyway, continue.
I don't get it.
I don't understand what Mike Babcock thinks is going to be accomplished by benching William Nylander.
Why not?
Why?
Why not?
He do it?
Oh, not why not. Why?
It's clearly not going to be a motivator to make him play better because he's an adult and a hockey player and he knows how to play hockey. And in one possession, there was a player beat him around the corner because he went there and he got lazy.
Now, to be fair, it's the slowest player.
To be fair, in that play, Matthews also doesn't make a play on the puck that's right there. He probably should make a play on it.
Well,
where was Matthews' benching? Where is Cody Cece's benching every time he gets turned? Was Sanheim benched when he got beat around the corner by Kapanen and he blew the biggest tire I've ever seen?
They don't have a choice with Sanheim. But continue.
They do, though. You can,
okay.
You don't have to play anyone.
You don't have to play anyone. You don't want to.
You're right. Yeah. No, you're
By Christmas, that might be another defenseman.
I would like you guys to tell me why Mike Babcock has decided to make William Nylander his whipping boy.
Because he's just decided to. Like so many things, he's just decided to.
That's not a good enough reason.
Yeah, well, I disagree.
That's what
I don't understand it either. I mean, he has been their most consistent forward all season. I mean, this has not been a tough take for Jesse to take every single time, considering how up and down the rest of the forwards have been.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Kapanen had a great night last night, but he started the first 7 games like he wasn't even the same guy.
Kapanen's in the role he ought to be in.
Right. And Nylander's in the role he ought to be in, and that's where I take. You know what? Let's wrap this segment. Let's get into that. Hey, that's who that wore the crown for this week. Brought to you as always by Crown Royal. Next time the puck drops, why not?
Why not?
Generously treat your Leafs crew to a good old-fashioned Crown Royal old-fashioned. That's right, I said old-fashioned twice. Now, let's talk about that William Nylander situation because it did draw a lot of ire and a lot of takes. The takes were hot, piping, you might even say. Now, with William Nylander, you made a statement there about Kasperi Kapanen.
Yes.
Kasperi Kapanen is now what?
In the role he ought to be in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Third line, right winger.
Is William Nylander in the role he ought to be in?
Man.
The answer is yes.
He is a second line winger
at worst he should be.
31 teams.
You know what's funny? We've been giving him so much praise for the amount of points he's gotten this season, and I went and looked at it. I want to say it was before this game, and I went, yeah, like he's doing so much better. He's on pace for 52. 50. Okay, that's better than last year, but like he's supposed to be Money in the Bank 60. Money in the Bank 60, and he's making Money in the Bank 60 money. And so the puck's not going in offensively. And the stats were there last year. It's just not going in. Okay, fine. And then this year, he's looking real good. But the puck's just not going in. So when the puck's not going in, he's defensively useless. Useless. And he does good with possession. Here, listen, I cannot ignore the thing that my eyes are seeing. And I don't care if he has that play 9 times out of 10. Jesus Lord, he handed a goal to the Flyers. Mm-hmm. Handed a goal to the Flyers. I'd rather him give the puck away by accident and put it right on his stick, tape to tape, than just not giving a shit.
For that reason, though, the puck's not going in, but skill-wise, he's in the position he should be. He should be playing with Matthews. He's a top 2, winger, whatever in his position, whatever. Where I'm trying to go with this is the instant reaction from people is, well, Cody Ceci blows stuff all the time. And actually, we'll talk about that pairing. Sure. But you had a reaction in your video, the LFR last night, which was so funny about, I forget how you reacted to Cody Ceci. Where are you going? Where are you going? But hang on. Sorry. Hang on. Kapanen is in the role he's supposed to be in. Nylander's in the role he's supposed to be in. Ceci is not. And if you don't think Leafs brass knows that,
oh my God,
you're out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Sure.
Hold on.
They also deserve criticism for putting him in that role.
Yes. Yep. You cannot. Okay. You can. I get the Nylander benching because Nylander is playing in a position he should be. If you're saying that Cody Ceci, who is objectively failing at the position he's playing, should be playing that position, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And you could ask me why the Leafs keep playing him there. Believe me, I don't know.
Big block on the PK last night in overtime, which should be mentioned, but 99% of the time, he's stunning.
The point is, you bench guys who are not playing well in the roles that they're set up to be playing in. I don't think Cody Ceci is meant to be playing where he is. So if you want to make that comparison, William Nylander gets benched because that's the position and the role he should be playing, and he blew it. Cody Ceci's not going to get benched because that is not the role he's prepared for. That's not the role he should be playing. And that's not the role he's good enough for. And I can almost guarantee Travis Dermott's taking that spot. Almost guarantee it. It's happening, guys.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you would continue to play Ceci there.
I tell you what, if the plan is to keep him there all year, tuck the season in. It's done. He's that bad. He's not an NHL player. I am fascinated to see what kind of a contract he gets next year, and whether or not it's written in Cyrillic. Like, no NHL team can watch him this season and be like, for sure, we're signing you.
If Paul Fenton was still a GM.
He's terrible.
If Paul Fenton was still a GM, I would say he'd sign him.
Oh, my, yeah. Call him a first-round pick, first-round pedigree. Mm-hmm. No, he's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
But the only thing I would say is that William Nylander's not playing poorly. He had one poor play.
Let me try to justify that.
Yeah.
So Cody Ceci, they know he's not in the role he ought to be. The defense is it's not great to begin with.
It's not the best.
It's not great to begin with. Yeah. They're not playing well, and also Muzzin's out. So certain guys are having to play a little bit more, and the Leafs are constantly on the penalty kill. And right now he's on the penalty kill, so they keep having him out there. Okay, fine, whatever. Austin Matthews blowing his coverage on that goal. John Tavares is out. All right. Babcock blew the doors off by having Matthews play 22 minutes or whatever, which is blowing the doors off by Mike Babcock standards. Okay, fine. Who's hurt on the right wing? No one. So if you suck, I'm going to replace you with any old bum. He didn't even replace him with a right winger, didn't he? He was just like, Timashov, sure, you go.
Take your big ass out there.
The point was to be like, all right, who has the least secure spot on this team? I'll just replace you with them.
But one of the things as a coach and as a manager, you have to know how to manage your people. I don't think benching William Nylander is going to make him make that play.
So we're at a crossroads then. So like either he will play for you or he won't. And you got to decide who stays and who goes. I'm not saying to trade William Nylander, but like, listen, there has to be a happy medium between goatee sunglasses who say he's useless and everyone who thinks the sun shines out of his ass. Except for you. Because he's just not what some of you think he is. He's not a completely useless player, and he's not a completely flawless player. This guy, that whole allegedly top line, which once Tavares, Marner, Hyman is healthy, you cannot justify that Matthews, Johnsson, Nylander is the top line.
I don't think that line's been the same since, and I hate to say this, since Zach Hyman left. That line did not play well together last year.
Very important.
And it's not playing well this year. And I know that sounds weird. Me from 2 years ago would be like, what the hell are you talking about?
They look, Matthews and Nylander in particular look so bad when they don't have the puck.
Yes.
So bad. And again, Matthews is making touch of God money. And I didn't see that last night. And it was the second time this season where Babcock has actually been like, here, I'm going to play a whole big bunch, and zeros across the board.
Did you have a problem with the final shot for the Leafs on in overtime when Matthews kept the puck and he didn't pass it to Marner, who was open in the slot?
I'm trying to remember.
It was the three of them coming back down. Marner was right in the middle in his stick up, and Matthews kept it for the shot.
I don't know.
And then they race back to the other end.
That might have been part of the plan. Like sometimes you raise your stick for like the fake.
But then the guy who raced back to the other end was Mitch Marner. And Matthews stayed in the corner.
Oh, there were two back checks. And Matthews was one of them. I was like, it's overtime.
You have
Leave
to
it all out there. Like there's no way you're that. Oh,
I got to tell you, I think if you're going to do the pass shoot, it's not to Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner's got to be doing the passing. So I'll take Matthew's shot any day over
my
Marner's.
problem is he didn't do anything after he shot the puck. He stood in the corner, and the play went the other way. Yeah. And Mitch Marner, the winger on the play, is the one who did the back check.
Mitch didn't look great on the second goal, but like, he had an honest effort. Yeah. No, and Marner like should be commended because he has taken a couple really shitty penalties recently, but he does try. He's trying. It's sometimes chaotic energy and a little bit misplaced. He's not magnificent defensively. I don't think he's the Selke candidate that some people think he is, but he makes an effort, and I'm not seeing the same growth from Willy, and I'm not seeing the same growth from Austin even.
Mm-hmm. And I
without the puck.
I think the issue is a lot of people are like, okay, well, three of their better players are out, and that's true. Tavares is an irreplaceable guy on this team.
Yep.
Muzzin is an irreplaceable guy on this team.
Fine.
Hyman is obviously an irreplaceable guy on this team. But let's just put that in perspective. Every team has that. Every team's got injuries.
And what about those injuries makes you throw a limp noodle at Travis Sanheim? Nothing about any of those injuries has anything to do with your effort. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with your give a shit level. And so they just don't look like they do when they don't have the puck.
What I think in summation of what you're saying here is most of the criticism leveled at William Nylander is obnoxious and probably too far. Mm-hmm. However, it's not unfair to criticize him.
No.
And that's what happens online is that you've got people who are like, well, this is crap. And I think, wasn't there like didn't Colby Armstrong suggest trading him this week? And it was a bad suggestion, I believe it was. I don't know. And then somebody else somebody had a Toffoli for Nylander. Toffoli's not playing in L.A. He's not playing in L.A. He's not playing in Toronto. But regardless of that, just because a player is overly criticized, which we can all agree William Nylander is, doesn't mean he is beyond criticism.
He's probably disproportionately criticized.
Of course he is.
And the fact that he makes one mistake and he gets bit for it, I get it. But it was a terrible mistake, and with injuries right now, some guys aren't replaceable.
But I also don't think his coach knows how to manage him.
No, well, like
but I don't think his coach knows how to manage anybody really on that team because he's not able to get them motivated. Even on good games where they look great, they don't look great for the whole game.
Let me tell you this,
and that's a coaching problem.
I don't think, and I agree with you, but I don't think that was for Willy only. I think that benching was a message to the rest of the team.
That's fair.
I don't think. Okay. I think that there's more to that. And Mike Babcock doesn't he have a psychology degree?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. So like he's all about like mind games, right? And not in a manipulative way, but coaches have to manipulate, right? That's part of motivation is a manipulation. Yeah. And I wonder if benching him, it's like okay, we're not afraid to bench one of our big three here up front. Well, big four, I guess. And if
it's not like he's benching Tavares.
No, well, he wouldn't have to bench Tavares.
No, he really wouldn't. But you're right.
But I think that there was more to that than just Willy in a vacuum. I think it was more like everybody wake up. But because here's the thing: if Babcock, I don't think Matthews earned it. He's blown some coverages. I don't think Matthews has earned a benching this year. But I feel like Babcock's at the point now where he would.
You know what Matthews has earned?
If that was Matthews blowing that same play,
Yeah.
I bet Matthews doesn't play the next shift. I bet he
hope
doesn't.
so.
You know what Matthews has earned? Once Tavares comes back, playing behind him for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
There's no...
Yeah.
Dude, he's not the same player two-way. He gave Tavares, the Tavares line, the Bergeron assignment, because him and Nylander, at least together, well, that's a little different. Nylander had to play center because Kadri decided to do that thing again.
Let's not get into it.
Yeah, let's not open old wounds. But Matthews and Nylander would get eaten alive. And a couple times in recent memory, we've seen Babcock be forced to use those two against that line, and they get destroyed. They're not useful without the puck. Mm-hmm. They're just straight up unuseful.
I also think I'd like to see Andreas Johnsson, as much as I've liked him, he had a great goal last night. I love his spirit. I love his energy. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see him pull a little more of the same skill, a little more of the Leo Komarov get under your skin.
You know,
because he's capable of it, and you've seen him do it.
He's got to play defense for the whole freaking line.
He does.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
And I was saying that to myself last night. I'm like, I'd like to see Mickey get a shot with that line. I want to see Mikheyev, and I'm like, that solves nothing. Adding Mikheyev to that line doesn't make Matthews or Nylander less aloof without the puck.
Just try.
Just literally
a little bit more.
Like we've been
doing.
screaming about, like, be tougher, be grittier, punch someone in the face. Okay, now we're all the way down to literally just try.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable. And we're at a crossroads here because, like, sometimes coaches get fired and it's not fair. Maybe that's where we are. Maybe it's you got to get rid of them and it's not fair, but we're at a point now where the players aren't playing for them.
Yeah, I'm moving towards, I think I know that the players have this in them and that there's something wrong with them getting motivated to get up and just play defense for
why
the
were they
entire
better
game.
2 years ago?
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Martin Lorenzen's in the top 4. Didn't really have a negative impact on this game, did it?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I think if it was sustained, he would have a negative impact for sure.
What
I know there's a ton of Martin Marincin is God out there. I'm sorry, at the NHL level, he's not.
No.
But he does have sometimes just if he's marginal, great.
Yeah.
As long as he's not less than marginal.
Yeah, on Saturday, it didn't affect the outcome of the game.
Bingo.
No.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That's all you can expect from him. That's the most you can expect. That's fine. But
and Dermott, who I keep forgetting to mention in my videos, he looks good. He looks like he gives a
but
shit.
he is just warming up.
Yes.
He had 6 months of rehab. Like, relax on the
No
Dermott needs to
training
play
camp.
20 minutes. Yeah.
He should be in the top 4.
No,
not yet.
Not yet.
He should be. But not
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think as soon as January hits, and that's when Mike Babcock starts to play with things, right? If you remember Matt Martin, it was like game 41, 42, something like that. We'll be in the 30s at the beginning of January.
That's
I think
also the time he clamped down after when he let them just play wild offense. And he was like, all right, come January, we're playing playoff hockey, and then there's no more wild offense.
Always good when random podcasters are able to predict what a coach is going to do.
Well,
it's boring at this point, isn't it?
well, it is. And I think, I agree.
I wonder who else it's boring to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I listen, it's a frustrating situation because, as Jesse said and rightly pointed out, you know what they're capable of. You know.
Yes.
But there's obviously a disconnect, and it can't just be Tavares, and it cannot just be Muzzin. That's not an excuse.
Or Hyman.
These guys are world-class talents. I'm talking about Matthews. I'm talking about Marner, and yes, Nylander too. There are things that William Nylander does, whether the people that hate him want to admit it or not. The facts are the facts. He is one of the best guys when it comes to neutral. Like, he's great in the neutral zone. He's great at entries. He doesn't turn over the puck that much, despite what Twitter will tell you. He actually doesn't turn over the puck.
Marner?
Nylander.
Oh, Nylander.
Doesn't turn over the puck all the time.
No.
He is a great playmaker. However, there's something wrong here. There is something doesn't smell right with this team.
The one thing with Nylander that annoys me is how often he misses high and wide. And, like, put it on net.
Yeah, just keep it down.
Put it on net, and then you got a greasy. You know who that probably drives nuts is Andreas Johnsson. That's his bread and butter, is getting those rebounds. Otherwise, why is he your lineman?
But why are you trying to shoot top corner from where William Nylander shoots anyway?
I don't know.
A lot of them seem to be missing the net completely on shots, especially on the power play.
Tyson Barrie's got to make better decisions with that. There's been a couple games. Why is he ripping slap shots above the net?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Can you believe the team won
very
last
funny.
night the way we're talking about him?
Oh, I know.
Like I got a lot of tweets of, and this was before I even posted the video. A lot of people were like, "I was happier with the loss to Washington
because it was a better effort.
Do you want to read your hot take tweet from last night? The one you threw into the video as well.
Well, I mean,
it was a little extremist.
Was it? Okay, yeah. This team looks bad. The Leafs have maybe their best start of the season against a team that's looked as flat as they've faced so far. And the Flyers were awful to start this game. That was just a little aside from me. Penalty trouble, goal. More trouble, another goal. Battle back, open the third soft. They just don't look like a good hockey team, man. How is that extreme?
Adam, what do you think?
They don't.
I mean, man, I would agree. I don't think there's any way that you can be happy with or encouraged by what we're seeing. And I think a lot of this has to do too. I mean, yes, okay. So and people have rightly pointed this out, and I've been talking about this too. The save percentage has been awful. Freddie had a Freddie October.
He was my runner-up for the crown. I should have gave him the crown. He's the only reason they won.
Mm-hmm. Last night is the only... Yes. And Freddie has to steal you games. That's his job. However...
And that save percentage looks a lot better if you take out the 7 goals against Tampa.
True.
That it becomes, it's like a 920, high 920s.
He had one
when you take
really...
That.
Really?
When you take out the Tampa game, it bumps up to the high 920s.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No, I know that's moving the goalpost, but it's so early in the season. One really bad game
but 920 is enough.
For like 2 months.
Right.
920 is enough.
Oh my God. 920 is enough to keep you in the Vezina conversation.
Yeah. Now, I assume that the reason that Freddie's save percentage looked like it does is because we were at that game, and so it's our fault.
Still
so we
the only game I've
apologize.
gone
We
to
apologize for that.
Well, and like his high danger save percentage and all that.
Which is not good.
I look at the Sanheim goal, for example, and I'm like, what's he supposed to do? What's he supposed to do? He's already down and out from the one save he made. Help him! He's getting nothing. What about Tavares or Muzzin being out of the lineup? Has anything to do with Ceci, who is a penalty killer from the beginning of the season onward, miscommunicating with Mitch Marner, who's a penalty killer from the beginning of the season onward. What does their injuries have to do with Willy giving the wet noodle there? What does it have to do with them taking way too many penalties? What does it have to do with this team taking an insane amount of bench minors over the span of half a decade? The answer is it's got nothing to do with any of those things.
Yeah.
So this team is going to get better on paper. And, dude, it might be worse. It might be the same thing that I was talking about before, where they're taking cough syrup for a chest infection. You got to get antibiotics on that shit. Because they might get Hyman, Tavares, and Muzzin back and start winning games to their detriment. You know what I mean?
Well, they've been winning games to their detriment for 3 seasons.
Right?
And that's...
Especially in October, November, December.
Yeah. Yep. Listen, I did want to touch on the penalties because exclude one because the bench minor at the end of overtime is like whatever, who cares, right? Still 5 penalties throughout the game, one of them in overtime. Stop with the goddamn penalties in overtime. And you know why that happens? And Kasperi Kapanen, who had a great game, unfortunately it was him.
These really, what a bummer.
Here's the thing. Here's why I don't think Spets is going to be around long. And I love Jason Spets.
Like on the team?
On the team. Okay. I don't think he'll be here. I think somebody will pick him up, or they'll trade him somewhere, or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you can't be Jason Spets and take 4 minutes in penalties ever.
I think I want to say 2 of those penalties because he got for some reason the too many men was given to him.
Oh, is that what it was?
Which was confusing to me.
The bench minor was at the end, right?
There were 2.
Yeah. Oh, it was the second. Right?
No, I think it was the first one. But Kapanen was in the box. I think that might have been an error.
Okay.
Unless I'm making a mistake right now.
The penalties that he takes.
He still took one.
Are not ones that you can take. If you take a penalty, and like there are good penalties. There are penalties that break up plays, break, whatever it is.
Yeah, sure.
Jason Spezza takes penalties where it's hooking on the hands.
Yeah, lazy.
He is hooking on the hands.
Lazy or out of position or slow.
Tripping. Yeah.
But that's not just him, right?
No,
Jason Spezza doesn't play more than like 10 minutes.
You nailed
it's the whole team.
Kapanen. One of the fastest players in the league.
You're out of position.
Yeah, and he got lazy and he stuck his stick out.
You are out of position. And that's the problem. They're consistently out of position, and now it's costing them in the penalties. And thank God their penalty kill has been okay-ish, even though it's 24th in the league. And the reason it's 24th in the league is because they take it in bunches.
Yeah.
They took 6 penalties last night alone.
Well, and
they can't score on the power play.
And Jim Houston and Craig Simpson were talking about how the Matthews, Janssen, Nylander line was being taken out of the game because they're not on the penalty kill, so they're not even able to get out there. Okay, well, maybe you need to start looking at using them on the penalty kill, straight up honest to God, to A, teach them defense, and B, to keep them in games where the team will not stop taking penalties. Andreas Johnson does kill penalties.
Yeah.
I don't know why he suddenly stopped.
Well, because that's not his role anymore. This is my issue with Mike Babcock, is that he believes that guys who are further up the lineup, except for Mitch Marner for some reason, shouldn't be playing that role. They should be playing their top line role, and the other guys should be guys that are good on the penalty kill, which is why you end up with Hainsey, Zaitsev, Polak, Ceci on the penalty kill. And here's the thing. Ceci plays on the penalty kill. Is Cody Ceci a penalty killer?
He does
not.
His team killer.
He's killer.
Dude, he's terrible at hockey. Dude, he can't play in the NHL.
But
He's
this is the
bad,
point.
man. He's really bad.
Listen,
Like-
I play hockey. Am I a hockey player?
I
No,
would say
I'm not a
yes.
hockey player.
No.
You're a hockey player.
I am not a hockey player.
By the definition.
Cody
You're not a
Ceci-
hockey player by trade.
Bingo. Cody Ceci plays on the penalty kill, is not a penalty killer by trade. And this is the problem that we're facing with this, is that you've got guys that are suited for this role. And you're like, well, you might tire them out. Guys, these guys are 22 years old.
Yeah.
I think they'll be okay. And
We
they're
can
only
run
playing
them into
18
the
minutes a
ground.
night anyway. Like, who cares? Are you going to play Andreas Janssen, who got 16 minutes? You're going to bump it up to 18 and all of a sudden he's going to be tired? Come on.
I just don't know.
Come on with that. That's
I just
crap.
don't know.
And this is the issue. That's where Mike Babcock loses me. It's putting guys in roles just because he thinks they should go there, not because they've earned it or because they get good results there. That's the problem. And the second thing I want to bring up here is people said, do you remember when Morgan Rielly, it was his first season, I believe, no, second season under Babcock, where everybody's like, wow, Morgan Rielly looks awful.
First.
And they put him through the ringer. Right? He was never playing the power play. He was always playing shorthanded.
I think
His
it was the
numbers
first.
were
Might have been the
awful.
second.
And now he's one of the best defensemen in the league. Maybe not defensively.
Best offensive for sure.
Yeah, one of the best. Why is it that Morgan Rielly had to go through that, and you're not doing that with Austin Matthews? Why are you not putting that guy through the shredder? Not because
Yeah, I don't know.
because maybe he needs to learn too.
Maybe the shredder was, we're not going to give you the wingers you want. or whatever.
Well, they
know.
are though, because
No,
apparently
now they are.
What
You're
we've
right.
heard is that Kasperi Kapanen and Austin Matthews doesn't want to play with him.
It
That's what we
wasn't a
heard.
good fit.
Exactly, and it wasn't a good fit with Tavares and Marner either. So, and that's not. It's not like there's some fight there. It just didn't work.
Right.
But what I'm trying to say is that like Mitch, like why are we expecting Austin Matthews, other than the salary, to all of a sudden be good at this if he's not thrown into the fire a bunch of times? The guy has the talent. If he's got $11.6 million talent, he can figure this out, but you got to continue to put him in that position and not let up until he shows you something.
Yeah.
It's okay to still do that.
Yeah.
And this brings me back to,
And I'm not asking-
at what
it's-
point is Babcock's message just, assuming he has one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't know exactly what the message is, but at what point is it just falling on deaf ears?
Well, and that's why I hope we get Chris Johnston on soon. The timetables haven't worked out, but I
No.
would love to ask him, do they want to win for this guy?
And like, I know they want to win. Of course they
Of
want
course,
to
everybody
win.
wants to win.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah,
But
no
do they
one's
want
like,
to win?
I can take it or leave it.
Do they want to win this guy's way? And that's the key with a coach. Do they believe they can?
I don't know, man.
And
And,
do they-
and like another thing, like Tavares, Hyman, and Muzzin being out has nothing to do with, you still have a bunch of wingers on the penalty kill, and they have Nick Shore and Freddie Gauthier every now and then scurry out there to take a face-off, take it, and then hopefully win and scurry back to the bench. Oh, what are you talking about? Zach Hyman's a penalty killer. Yeah, he's a winger who they forced to take face-offs. Hopefully he's working on that while his knee recovers. Working on face-offs because he's going to be forced to do that again. Is it just me, or did they completely change their penalty kill and do nothing to change it?
Well, they got a new coach and everything.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Like, friggin' same personnel. Basically, like, I'm losing my mind with this team. Thank God they beat the Flyers. Like, what a miracle that they irked out. The shots were from the second, third, the second period, third period, and overtime, I think were 35-14.
I want to see.
Against a team in the second half of back-to-back,
I want to see one more guy in the Leafs try the Kucherov. You know?
I lunged at my television. I wanted to strangle Timashov.
I just want to see one more guy come down there and fake a shot and let the puck just slide into the goalie.
I know Timashov pulled it off in the minors, but to see Matthews just flub it so bad, he knows it's coming, guys. Stop doing it.
Keep going, by the way.
To see Matthews flub it so bad and then have Timashov in his first NHL attempt.
Is it really?
Try that? Yeah. Well, I don't know when else he would have done it. And he was the fifth shooter.
It was absurd. It was like, is that really your best effort? 8 guys in?
I was at a loss. I was actually at a loss. I was like, there was a moment during the shootout where I was like, I hope they lose. And then Konechny scored, and I was like, I really hope Spezza scores. And then he did, and it was beautiful.
You can't root for your own team, though.
No, but like, they were rewarded for a really, really bad performance.
And I think we gotta at least look at the game from that positive angle, is that they came out with the 2 points.
Yes.
Which they should have, and they won. And come February, it's still just going to look at like 2 points on the schedule.
Right.
You know?
And there's no excuse to lose to a team like the Flyers.
And they did it.
No offense. Right.
That's the thing.
With the Flyers, I don't care if the Flyers had home ice advantage. Second half of a back-to-back, there's no excuse. And again, no offense, but Brian Elliott's in net. Freddie versus Brian Elliott. Freddie should win that 10 times out of 10. You know? And now on Tuesday, we have, a fully rested squad, just like they were last night. Home ice advantage this time, and it's against the LA Kings.
They should get that game.
And they'll probably get Muzzin back. And Muzzin's going to be playing his former team. There's no excuse to drop even a point. There's no excuse.
I hope.
And if you drop points to the Kings, I'm very excited to see how the Vegas game goes.
I think there's I think there's going to come a point when a coaching change is made. And once that coaching change is made, I hope that next coach is given a little bit of time with the squad. And once that time is up, I think then we're going to see who these players are. Is it fair to say I think we're still like 2 years away from seeing what Austin Matthews really is?
I think so.
I don't think
the guy's 22.
Yeah.
No, that's trash. Because
what do you mean that's trash?
It's
Come
trash.
on.
Because, dude, okay, so Ray Ferraro took a bunch of shit last night for saying that right now Leon Draisaitl's better than Austin Matthews. I am dying.
Is he wrong?
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm dying to hear the argument
right.
for why Matthews is better.
I am too.
I don't think anybody's arguing that Matthews is better right now.
You point to even strength goals. Okay, fine. What about just
How about just domination?
all fucking goals and two-way play and domination? The Oilers beyond that top line have shit.
But those guys dominate.
And those two guys just trudge through the freaking muck. We are making the playoffs, you bunch of bums. And they drag them. And we see a bunch of guys on this team who are making drag you through the mud money. And they're not doing it. I don't know. I know some people think I'm being negative.
Well, a coaching change had to happen in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yep.
Two coaching changes actually. It was McClellan and Hitchcock.
Yeah, and when during that process was McDavid ever the problem? And when during that process was Draisaitl ever the problem?
Never.
Like the Leafs, I look at them on paper, they're far too good to be this bad. I've said my piece. There it is.
I think it takes a lot of losing, and sometimes you don't realize what it takes to do something until you do it.
Yeah.
And I think these guys just have to lose a little and actually do something, and then they'll realize what it takes to do it.
Yeah, you
It's like
gotta
what
blow
Nick
it.
Nurse said in the preseason.
What do you say?
It was something along the lines of can't remember two of the new guys. I forget their names, but the standard when they went through 4 rounds of playoff basketball changed. The standard for everything, the standard for expectations, for effort. And they bring in a couple new guys who haven't quite done that. And he's like, okay, you've got something to learn. You don't understand the level of sacrifice that it takes.
And I don't think these guys understand
No
that.
way.
And
There's no way they
There's a
understand.
reason you see winners win and teams who are consistently good be consistently good is because they know the effort that they need to put out to get to that level. And these guys just need to realize that once they do it.
Let's
and they haven't
call it
done
what
it
it is.
yet.
The Boston Bruins
Yeah.
understand.
Oh, yeah.
They understand.
And it took the Caps a while to get there, but they understand.
Yeah,
They
look
understand.
how many.
Penguins
That was
understand.
like
13 years.
half a decade run.
That's why it's so funny. The anxiety in Leafs Nation and on Leafs Twitter is hilarious because people are like, well, this team has max like a 5-year window. No, they fucking don't.
You might wait. You might wait 10. These
do you
guys
know
will
these
be
guys?
around. Like Matthews is here, Marner's here.
Yeah.
Give him 8 years. You know.
Well, listen, it's ridiculous because here's the thing. It could be a 5-year window. It could be a 2-month window. Matthews could go down with a career-threatening knee injury next game.
Yeah.
You never know.
You just do not know.
But it
He
can
could be-
also take 10 years.
Exactly. So here's
Look
the
at
thing.
what happened to
Obviously, you
Scott
gotta look at-
Sabourin last night. You never know what's going to happen
yeah.
in an NHL
you
game.
gotta look at it if you're them as we can't blow another shot. We cannot blow another shot because you just don't know with pro sports. However, the idea that this is somehow all going to be over and the Leafs are going to go back to missing the playoffs for 15 straight years in 5 years, and Matthew's going to go back to Coyotes, and Brian Burke is going to develop wings and fly over there. I don't know.
I hate that
Everybody
attitude
relax.
more than anything.
Yeah.
Like they could
okay,
miss this year and then win the cup.
Well,
next
fine.
year.
Well, and
Look at Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh no, hold on. But look,
Who has been terrible?
Here's the other thing that people are
Yeah.
doing. They're looking at the Leafs cap situation, and they're looking at the players that they have currently on the roster and going, "Well, they're never going to have a better team than this." So who says fucking who?
yeah.
Here's
That's
here's
This is the
job.
best Leafs team ever, and it'll never be like this ever again.
Let me legitimize
what?
their frustration because here's the frustration I'm feeling. This summer was such a slog.
Yeah, it was. So it was
and
last summer.
once yep. And you know what, Adam? So to that end, it's been over a year of this shit. And we thought, okay, once we get through this as fans, once we get through all this frustration and pen is put to paper, whatever, it's not my money, once the pen is put to paper, then they start kicking ass. When they start playing hockey, that's when they start kicking ass. And to start the season. Oh, it's only 15 games. Oh, it's like, you know
No,
what?
15 games is enough.
No, at first it was, it's only 5. And then it was only 10. And now it's only 15. When's it going to be only 20? And then only 25, and then only 30, and then only 35. Like, let's keep going.
We're
Let's keep
three-quarters of
going.
a way to a quarter of the season.
Let's keep moving the post
Yeah.
for this amazing team on paper, this handsomely paid like $20 million over the cap team on paper. Let's keep moving the goalposts. Let's keep coddling them. Let's throw a diaper party for this team. Like, why not? Why not?
Pete Blackburn might have to come back on.
Yeah.
For
Might
the
have to
full
come back
diaper
on.
party.
Full.
Like, it's.
It just,
I've said my piece.
Steve, it might take 10 years with these guys. Who knows?
Which is going to make for some great podcasts.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the over the cap thing, 16 of the 31 teams now sit technically over the cap.
Oh, like
Do you
LTIR
not
and all
think
that?
it's a problem when half of your league is over the cap? Maybe the cap isn't set where it should be because they're all spending above it. I don't know.
Maybe if we had them spend into a luxury tax where you tax them
Oh.
triple and we could subsidize the smaller teams with more money rather than the pittance they get right now, maybe we would have a situation. Every time I make that argument, I get a bunch of fucking lunatics in my mentions going, that's not mathematically possible. It is.
It all comes
yes,
down.
it is.
It all comes down to GMs and owners just disregarding the financial realities of this league. Okay, so you're mad at the Leafs for being over the cap. Okay, let's pretend the NHL is mad at the Leafs for being over the
No,
cap.
they're mad at
And
the
all-
bonuses.
And all these
Yeah.
front-loaded contracts. All right, what would Vegas be doing right now? What would that 3-year-old team be doing right now had the Leafs not, by the grace of God, taken the Clarkson contract? Like, what would Vegas be doing right now?
I don't know. I don't like paying him.
Like the league, and,
putting him in LTIR. I mean, I don't know how that would
what
work.
What position would Columbus have been in if the Leafs hadn't figured out that little switch?
Nathan Horton,
Like, yeah,
the
like,
uninsured
it's-
weirdly contract.
they're a friggin' piggy bank. This team. I don't understand how the league could ever be mad at them.
Well, if the league is mad at them, they got to be mad at 15 other teams.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
It's just
catastrophe.
Like,
funny
don't
to
tell
me.
me that the Rangers, the Bruins, Like all the major markets,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Chicago, when they're good, they're not going to do the same thing. Of course they are.
It's just
Of course
funny
they are.
when you have a hard cap when nobody's spending to the hard
Yeah,
cap.
if people
It's not.
If people think a luxury tax won't work, look at the current salary structure, and
Oh, yeah.
you're incorrect objectively. We should be taxing these rich teams. We should be taxing them to death. We should be taking that money and putting it into
Let
other.
the good teams spend.
Let the good teams spend and
Why
tax the
not?
money. Why
And
not?
Tavares is potentially missing more games, and people are coming out of the woodwork to be like, no, this is good.
Yeah, because
Keep him in a few more.
Yeah,
Like,
the question
what?
I asked at the end of the last episode.
Keep your captain out of the lineup
You get an extra $1.5 million.
so that you can call someone up?
for $1 million.
What is this league?
It's ridiculous.
That's horrible.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
It's horrible, and it's why no one in the North American sports media landscape takes you seriously. It's a minor league.
It's League 4.
League, I don't know.
When UFC's on, I don't know.
When NASCAR's on.
when NASCAR.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
NASCAR doesn't. He retired, but NASCAR doesn't rate the way it used to. It's it's aging out too.
Yeah, number 4 on
it's
ESPN.
pretty expensive to
too.
drive a car.
It's true.
Now,
Hey, glad they won.
of note, Louis Domingue is now with the Devils for a 7th. A lot of people, including James Myrtle, mentioned that the Leafs probably would have wanted to do the same and acquire Louis Domingue. The problem is they don't have the money.
They don't
Can't
have
do
the
it.
money.
So Louis Domingue is with the Devils for now.
Great trade for the Devils. Like, good.
Yeah, they
good-
got to do something on,
Yeah.
and it
it's a
cost
cheap
them nothing.
Bet.
Yeah.
Cheap bet.
Scary moment for Scott Sabourin last night. Sends loose to the Bruins, but
That was
just
unbelievable.
that hit. I mean, I know David Backes is a pretty solid guy, but it didn't. When you saw the collision, it looked like two tough guys colliding. It didn't look like what it ended up being.
Straight to the head, and then I think he was out, like out.
Yeah, the second
And
they
then-
hit, he was out.
Yeah, and it's always so much worse. It's never good when a guy's out at all, but he was outstanding, and then he hit the ice as well. It was all bad, freak accident. I felt horrible for David Backes.
Yeah,
I felt
did
really
too.
bad for
'Cause
him.
that's
He looked like on the verge of tears.
Oh, he was, and that was one of the one time, like the one time in the NHL history where David Backes wasn't trying to be dirty. Let's be honest, he is a dirty player.
I mean,
that's his job.
Well,
that's what he. That's come on.
he's grimy, he gets in those areas,
Yes!
but that was just one tough hockey guy trying to hit another tough hockey guy, and they just happened to conk heads. I'm trying to think of the last time I even saw something like that. And man, I
been a
can't
while.
believe Sabourin was posting to Instagram and all
You
that.
saw Haley Salvin's post. He's got like one of his eyes is just like it looks like he was fighting
he needed
Nate
stitches.
Diaz. Like he,
Oh, yeah.
he was like he was
Masvidal.
Oh yeah, he's
And-
got a black eye that's like so swollen it's shut.
Well, and I thought it was, not that it's a funny situation, but they're like, oh yeah, he has a broken nose, and I'm like, that what?
Well, there's some
And
other things,
what?
and
what else?
yeah.
It was a terrifying incident, but thank goodness he's up and about and posting stuff. And I thought it happened at the end of the period. I didn't realize both teams just left the bench like out of concern.
Yeah, no, they did out of concern, which was cool.
That's crazy. And again, Boston. Like, I'm starting to get over all my rage at the organization and I just have a tremendous amount of respect for them.
Yeah.
What do they do wrong? I can't really find it. Like, okay,
And then what are they, 10-3-1 to start the season?
yeah, and they won 5 straight. Islanders have won 9 straight.
They have. It's
but-
crazy.
But like to say they get away with murder come playoff time, okay, fine. What does the Boston Bruins organization do wrong?
Nothing. Not right now. And here's the thing, the interesting thing
Other
with
than
Boston.
make seats that fit people.
The Halak, I believe Halak has played 5 or 6 games of the 13 or something that they've played. Like, and he's been very good, much better than he was with he was okay with the Islanders, but he's much better with Boston.
He went through a rut in his career.
And I mean, I think that more had to do with just the state of the Islanders and the fact that Boston plays defense. But the Boston Bruins have all the things that you need. They have high-end skill. They have veteran leadership. They have young, exciting, fast talent.
Poise.
And that's the key. So this is the thing that the Leafs are missing.
Poise.
It's the poise and the determination. It's the desire to want to win. It's the grit in your teeth. And though the Bruins have come out like they lost the Stanley Cup last year.
Yep. They're coming out like a team scorned.
We lost the Stanley Cup. So, like, the Leafs and Tampa Bay are playing like two teams like, oh, shucks, we lost and it sucks. Boston's like, no, we lost and we should have won. And we're going to show everybody we should have won.
You know what was such an underrated moment? We're going back 2 Game 7s ago. This was 2018. DeBrusk scoring a goal. I can't remember if it put the Bruins up or if he tied it. There's so much time left in the game. Skating by the bench and doing the jersey tug thing. He knew. He didn't even have to look up at the scoreboard to see that they were losing at the beginning of the period. He knew the Boston Bruins were winning that game. You know why? Because they do. Like,
they can rely on each other, too.
Dude, like...
show up.
And he's a guy, and you look at him and you go, what a little shit. And he's so annoying. And I'm like, dude, I get it. But, like...
Man, I'd love that little shit on my team.
There's a guy...
all day.
He's being taught by guys who have won. He's coming up in a culture of winning. He's coming up adoring the team that he plays for. Loves being a Boston Bruin.
Look at David Pastrnak, who I would argue is better than Leon Draisaitl this year.
Did you see the picture yesterday of Pastrnak?
No.
This guy is texting his buddy. He's like, hey, sorry, I'm going to be late. I just got in a car accident. And he's like, oh, my God. He's like, yeah, I just hit David Pasternak's Porsche. He's like, what? And he sends him a picture of... he took a picture with Pastrnak.
Oh, my God, that's really funny.
He hit, like, the NHL's leading goal scorer.
Wow.
And he's just like... Like, that's what kind of a season David Pastrnak is having. So happy that he's like, yeah, I'll take a picture with you. You just wrecked my Porsche.
We'll be fine. It's just a Porsche.
It's just a Porsche. I'm fine.
You can afford a couple of them.
I want people to love playing for the Leafs the way that any Bruin loves playing for the Bruins.
Yeah. I also think that the Bruins have accomplished enough, at least this group has accomplished enough, where they can sort of, and I don't want to say relax, but they don't have to do the things that the Leafs still have to do in terms of culture. Because the Leafs have to be super strict with these players because A, they're young and they haven't accomplished anything, but B, they can't relax because there's pressure to perform. The Bruins have pressure to perform, but the way they handle it is different. And they handle it like guys who've won the Cup and have been to a couple finals since then. And I think the Toronto Maple Leafs goal should be to get to that level. Those guys, Bergeron, Marchand, Chara, they don't act like they're under pressure. The Leafs act like they're under pressure.
Yeah.
The Bruins are under pressure. Playing in Boston, you are under pressure all the time. The city just bleeds championships. They shit championships all the time.
And they walk into the building as the team to beat.
Yes. But they mentally put themselves there. And I think if as much as it sucks sometimes,
they believe it.
Like the Oilers did from the Islanders in the early 80s, you got to learn from your biggest adversary. And the Leafs' biggest adversary for sure is the Bruins.
I know we always joke about like, oh, the Leafs are just going to play the Bruins again. Dude, I hope so. I
hope the Bruins keep kicking the Leafs' ass until the Leafs figure it out.
When the Leafs win the Stanley Cup, whenever the hell that is, don't you want it to be through Boston?
Sure, yeah.
The Capitals. You know what? They won the Cup, but if they didn't go through Pittsburgh, it's still a Cup.
People will be like, yeah, but...
At least they went through them once.
Mm-hmm.
They went through them once, and they won the Cup when they did it. Isn't it so much better?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it more significant that it was in round 2? Like where it always is? Doesn't it need to be Boston in round 1? Doesn't it have to be?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be.
Has to be.
And I look forward to it because right now
I don't
they're
think
the standard,
I actually
at least
don't
in
think
the rivalry or whatever you call it.
The Leafs aren't even in the playoffs right now. If the playoffs were to start
They're
today,
in second wild
Is that
card.
it?
And Tampa,
card.
Tampa's not, and the Leafs wouldn't be playing. Well, maybe they would be playing Boston because they're second wild card. But if the Leafs finish third in the division, I think Boston's winning the division this year. I don't think they play the Bruins in the first round. I think they play them in the second round.
Tampa looks terrible.
And there's a team with another team with no excuse. They are
but
too
they
damn
also
good.
have zero pressure on them because they play in Tampa.
Oh.
No, there's no media in Tampa.
A little bit more scrutiny than you'd think.
I don't think there's media in Tampa
like
hounding them every day. to win more games.
They're in 22nd in the league right now. And they still spanked the Leafs that one time. What a weird season around the league. Just a weird season around the league. And then, you know what's not weird? Seeing the Bruins near the top. There they are again. Mm-hmm. There they are again, folks. You don't like it, maybe do something about it, but there they are again.
Some interesting stuff came out on headlines last night with Ron McLean and Chris Johnson and Elliot Friedman, and it had to do with Dustin Byfuglien.
I want to hear this because I missed headlines last
So we talked about and Bob McKenzie, I think, was the first one to report that Dustin Byfuglien had surgery on his ankle. And I didn't know this at the time, and I'm not sure if Bob tweeted it. However, watching headlines, we do know now that they found a broken bone in his foot when they operated.
Oh, what?
So they didn't previously know. Now, I don't blame the Jets for that. If even the doctors, Byfuglien paid for this surgery himself.
Yeah.
And so I believe that it probably would have been a tough bone to find, because you would think if they're going to operate on his ankle, they're going to take some X-rays beforehand. And if they didn't see it on the X-rays and the Jets didn't see it on the X-rays, probably hard to see on the X-rays. A lot of bones in your foot.
Sure.
But they did find a broken bone, so that's part of what's been giving him trouble.
During the operation.
During the operation.
So while they're
fixing his
folks, while they're in his
foot
body.
Yeah. They found it.
Jesus.
Now, here's the situation as Elliot broke it down. So the Jets feel Dustin was fit to play and cleared, because he was clear to play at the end of last year, even though, and this is at the end of last season, even though we all knew he was hurt going into the playoffs.
And
that
it was his
an open
ankle,
secret.
wasn't it?
And it was his ankle, but they cleared him at the end of the season.
In his exit interview.
Yes.
Right.
And he apparently didn't say much about how much it was bothering him too. That's what their position is.
Very hockey.
And then he made it clear to them over the summer that he was going to retire. Now, his position in this
Just straight up, I'm retiring.
is that he was playing injured. Now, if that was the case, Winnipeg would have made it. That's why I don't believe
Winnipeg says he made it clear to them that he was going to retire. Byfuglien's camp is saying something different.
That's what I'm exactly, and that's why there's a hole in this story, because if that was the case, Winnipeg would have made a move for a right-handed shot defenseman this summer.
Not gotten rid of Trouba.
Bingo. That's why I believe that's total bullshit.
Yeah, unless it's just clear that Trouba was never going to re-sign.
So, but even so, you make a trade for someone. It can't be Neil Pionk.
You don't go in with this.
Yeah,
lineup.
you lose Myers, Byfuglien, and Trouba in one summer, and Pionk's your guy? I don't think so.
That's pretty wild.
Dustin's position apparently is that he was playing injured. He took all summer off to heal. He went to Winnipeg to play, but his ankle was bothering him too much. The surgery discovered the broken bone in his foot. So there's going to be, now the issue is,
Oh, is this an Owen Nolan thing?
I don't know. But let me explain this.
Sorry.
So the arbitrator, there will be an arbitrator brought in. He's already lost out on $1.4 million of his salary, and he believes that the Jets should still be paying him because technically he's suspended, because technically he didn't show up.
Yeah.
And technically Winnipeg isn't allowed to say anything about this because there's legalities in this. But it was painted as this was more of a mental health thing. Now we're finding out that maybe it wasn't. And maybe there's a little bit of bad blood between what Winnipeg expected out of him and what his actual injury is. And apparently he does want to play. The question is, will he continue to play for Winnipeg? Because apparently there's some hurt feelings. And an arbitrator is going to get involved and rule on whether or not he should be paid and when that pay should start. Yeah. So I think he wins the argument of should he be paid? Yes, because he hasn't retired.
It's his ankle.
Well, he hasn't retired.
And he hasn't retired.
So he, at very least, should be on LTIR. The question, and what Winnipeg will probably fight, is when does he start getting paid?
So
how much money are they on the hook for him?
It's interesting because I guess he didn't go about it properly, technically speaking.
And you have to do that.
If he didn't,
Of course.
then Winnipeg has a strong case.
Right. So it's
But if he
it's
doesn't
murky.
know that there's a broken bone in his foot, who knows?
Yeah.
All he knows is that
They cleared him to
life
play.
sucks and playing hockey sucks more.
Right. If he showed up and he says, I'm ready to play at training camp, and then he goes to surgery and then his foot's broken, then it's like, okay, maybe you owe him the money. But if he was wavering on his decision to play, if they didn't know if he was actually injured and he was going to have the surgery, then it's like, okay, then Winnipeg doesn't have to pay. It's very interesting.
This reminds me of two things. One, when Crosby was going through his horrible concussion saga in 2011 or whatever, part of it, I think, was due to a misdiagnosed or a missed neck issue. And there were rumors that he wanted out of Pittsburgh because he's like, I don't trust you.
Yeah, their trainers, they got that reputation where everybody just make fun of the trainers, but like, yeah, because
they're still like the most injured team in the world.
Yeah, they're misdiagnosed like a couple injuries around that time,
and they have been for like 15 years. Yeah. It's wild. So there was that. Reminds me of that. The Owen Nolan thing I brought up. The Leafs had Owen Nolan through the 05-06 lockout, and I want to say he should have made like $6 million or something like that. And the Leafs were basically arguing that they didn't owe it to him, and he's like, well...
But I was injured.
Even though there was...
a lockout.
Not 05-06, 04-05. Even though there was no hockey to be played, I was hurt. So you owe me that $6 million, and I think they had to go to an arbitrator.
Do you remember how that ended up?
I don't.
I think how this ends up is
Sorry. What complicated it extra is I think it would have affected the brand new salary cap, and it would have basically been like they don't have a $6 million player when the cap was like $42.5 million.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the Leafs got lucky with whatever the outcome was.
I think what happens here, and this is on knowing nothing, right? This is I know what I told you, but I bet what happens here because he didn't go through technically speaking, go through the proper protocols or whatever. He probably loses the $1.4 million he's owed already. But then the arbitrator says you have to unsuspend him, and he goes on LTIR. I bet there's some sort of... Now, maybe he's owed half of that or something like that. If I'm the arbitrator, $1.4 million is a lot to lose out on. Yeah. So Winnipeg does owe him some amount of that. But the fact that he is suspended is, to me, that's an issue. Even if he is undecided, then you put him on some sort of long-term injury reserve, or because that's what the rules state. There's no actual reason other than him not reporting for him to be suspended.
Well, and then it's the reason I didn't report is because I was clearly injured and you missed the injury. And
they're going to rule for the player always on this, by the way.
Oh, boy.
The player gets the favor in this, and they should.
It's always looked weird since this story first came out that he was suspended and we had really no idea why.
And he's just walking away from all that money?
Pain? It's $16 million, by the way. $8 million this year, $8 million next year.
There's no way.
That's something you fight over.
That's why people are like, oh, he likes fishing. I'm like, I'm sorry.
No.
I don't...
He also likes $16 million.
I like fishing with $16 million more in my bank account.
Right?
Oh, he's made $50 million. Yeah, well, he could make 68.
Yeah, because even if he's injured, just go on the LTIR and you get your 2 checks. He didn't have to go fishing. That's why it was always so weird.
This isn't Tim Thomas randomly disappearing into the woods.
No.
This is Dustin Byfuglien leaving millions and millions and millions of dollars on the table when just yesterday he was a great hockey player.
Right. You know what I mean? Think the way they handled his injuries last year, and I'm sure more will come out, because he only played 29 games, I'm sure there was some sort of issue there. And that can happen between athletes and teams. It does happen. And I don't know, I bet Winnipeg would tell you, well, hey, we tried our best and we missed some stuff and sometimes we screw up. And I bet that could be true.
I don't think he's played his last NHL game. I do think he's played his last game as a Jet.
I think so too.
Yeah, eventually you cross the bridge where you're not going back. Yeah.
In which case, the Leafs should go right after that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God, would that solve a bunch of issues? I mean,
it would.
He'd fit right in. He takes a shitload of penalties.
But
I think he would look great.
He'd be great.
He does at least shoot right-handed and be mean to people.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell they would afford
we'll
him.
flip you a Cody Ceci for that.
How about you? Adam?
What if the
I didn't even have anything to say.
What if the deal was you have to go live in Winnipeg for a year and do JFRs for a full year and the Leafs get Byfuglien?
I would make that sacrifice for this fan base.
Wow. A healthy Byfuglien. Healthy Byfuglien.
I would do that.
Also, Winnipeg is not bad. I think Winnipeg's a lot more fun than people give it credit for.
Because
the weather is so extreme there, they've learned how to have a really good time.
Oh, okay.
From what I understand, the club scene is quite fun. From my radio friends in Winnipeg, they've told me that it is just outrageously fun.
Is it? Do you see the same 30 people at the club every weekend?
I don't think so. It's too big for that. But look at what happens.
Is there a
when
lot of people in Winnipeg? I heard it's small. Isn't it?
no.
It's 700, 800,000, I think.
Okay, yeah, like Mississauga.
Yeah, it's
more people
Mississauga
than that.
size.
Guys, I think we got to postpone the show.
Why?
Oh, it's just apparently I got to verify something to avoid my bank account getting suspended.
Oh, did you get a text
I got
message?
a text message from a 647 number.
What did they say, Steve?
I got a message from clearly a cell phone that telling me that, oh no.
You know, the one thing I know about banks is they really like to text you.
Should I call him?
Yeah, call them.
I'm going to call him. I just want to see how it goes.
I don't think it'll go through, though, because I think a lot of that is there's some sort of program with that. Put it on speaker.
Okay.
In the
Yeah, if
microphone.
you're going to call somebody. Oh.
Put it in the mic. Front of the mic. Front of the mic.
Come on. Come on, I got to get this issue sorted out. It's really important.
Good content.
This is really good content.
If something happens, it'd be really good content.
It would be.
Wouldn't it be
If something,
good?
yeah.
They're not going to pick up.
I hope-
Come on.
It's probably a computer program.
I have
that you're
screamed
calling.
with these people before.
You know, that solved a lot, I'm sure. I'm sure it stopped them dead in their tracks.
It did, actually. From that
They
particular...
never ripped anyone off ever again.
Well, it stopped... Okay, sorry. It stopped the problem for me. They stopped calling me.
Yeah, true. As I
Yeah.
said, watch out for scams, people. Now, crazy game between the Pens and Oilers. It could have gone really either way in overtime, especially with Letang missing that shot. But then with Leon, again, Steve, you mentioned this earlier, Leon Draisaitl.
It's a cheat code, 3-on-3.
Well, if you want to watch how Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid have dragged this team to a winning record, watch Leon Draisaitl race the puck up the ice in overtime and score that goal. That is that gif right there is the whole season for Edmonton so far.
Unrivaled duo in the NHL.
Unbelievable.
Unrivaled. And yeah, I don't know Edmonton's obsession with the Leafs.
It's because we're the. It'd be like Chicago and New York. You know, like Chicago's got this thing about New York where, like, if you ask people for Chicago, you go to Chicago and they'll be like, "Isn't it so much better than New York here?" And you'd be like, "No, Chicago's just great."
All these tweets I was getting-
New York, LA.
New York, LA.
Yeah.
I don't think New York and LA compete with each other, do they?
I think LA people look at New York people a different way.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, I just know that, like,
Take your word for it.
like Chicago's great, New York's great. They're great.
Yeah. Well,
But
and I'm like,
there's
man,
this-
we're playing the Flyers. Like, focus. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
I think
don't
it's
get
because, again, it goes back to who wouldn't want to take a shot at the Leafs? Who wouldn't want to take a shot at Toronto fans? We make it
They're the
so
Death Star again, eh?
easy. We make it so
I
easy.
know.
We're obnoxious.
We really do.
Of course they want to take shots at us.
Of course. But
We're
there was a
obtuse.
funny moment yesterday at Scotiabank Theatre where remember I selected the All-Star team?
Yeah.
And that's not fair. So I clicked random and I landed on the Oilers. And then we all bursted out laughing. We forgot. We were playing threes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm winning.
Draisaitl, McDavid, Neal.
As soon as I realized I only needed 3 players, I'm like, I win.
Now, Mike Smith made over 50 saves last night, which was great for him.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
He pulled a Mike Smith game out of his
Yeah,
hat.
he does that.
He does that. It's
He
okay.
couldn't do it for
How
Calgary.
hard did
except for in the
Calgary like their offseason was so bad?
Well, hang on. We're not getting to Calgary yet.
Okay, sorry.
First, we're going to talk.
Underratedly bad offseason.
First, we're going to talk. We'll get to Calgary next because, of course, I always put Calgary and Edmonton together, and we do have.
They're
a
the same.
They're the same. They're the same place. Ken Holland is actually going over to Finland to watch Jesse Puljujärvi in a tournament that's coming up. Now, it's interesting because there is interest, and this is according to headlines, interest in Puljujärvi is heating up, and the Oilers are still trying to say, but, like, you could come play for us. We've had a really good start. Puljujärvi's position is no.
And the Oilers are right. They are right.
To
They are
be
right.
doing that?
But I
You
also
think so? Yeah.
I also
yeah.
think there's a point at which, maybe with Byfuglien too, it's like, you know what? I just don't trust you anymore. I don't care who's in charge there. It's the same ownership, and I don't
know.
care.
I know.
And so I don't really blame him. But boy, he sure would look good on this team. If they played him in the role that he should be in. Don't put him on the fourth line. Don't make him a grinder. Put him next to Connor or Leon or Nugent Hopkins.
It's Ken Holland is doing the right thing here. He's not letting Jesse completely dictate everything, but he's also showing him that he's a priority. Listen, last regime didn't make you a priority. I am coming to Finland to speak to you. Jesse hopefully uses the cards that he has, which is, listen, I'm perfectly happy playing here. So if you don't trade me, whatever, I'm happy to stay here. Then hopefully the conversation gets to a place where, okay, if I'm going to return to Edmonton, here's what it's going to look like. You're going to get me a Finnish teammate that I can actually talk to. You know what the Leafs did recently that sort of went under the radar until Scott Wheeler pointed it out? Nick Antropov got hired as a skills consultant for the Marlies. And I was like, what?
That was a good pickup by Scott.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, yeah.
I didn't even, so...
And that's from Mikheyev, right?
Yeah, no, Igor Korshkov.
Sorry.
Igor Korshkov, who is supposedly Kazakhstani, which I did not know. I thought he was Russian. Yeah, they brought in like the one Kazakhstani Leaf ever to talk to him. And Antropov lives here. He lives in the GTA.
Yeah.
Like
His son plays for the Gens.
The absolute perfect. Like, you're telling me there's no Finnish alumni ever the Oilers could have brought in to make Bully Yarvi's life a little easier?
Yari Curry might be a good pick. Everybody else from the Oilers is there from the 80s. Well, everybody from the Oilers except for Yari Curry currently works for the Oilers.
Right?
Like, you got Gretzky, you had Coffey, you had who else is still working for the Oilers in a consultant role?
You're going to get me a Finnish teammate.
And
you're
Yari
going to
Curry?
get me, maybe you hire this random friend of mine who's a whatever consultant, make up some friggin' shitty title. I get to play these minutes. I want to be on the power play. Like, those are the cards that he holds. And if you're the Oilers, you got to think about it because you're not going to win that trade.
How could you, if you're Edmonton, how could you not put him in those positions anyway? Like, he shouldn't even have to ask. He's very clearly good enough to be in all those positions.
Yeah. That's on the previous regime.
That is on the previous regime and the previous coaches, both coaches.
Ken Holland's doing the right thing, showing Puljujärvi that he's a priority.
Yeah, but I think he gets traded anyway. I think he's done. But the Rangers apparently are the team that really wants him. And boy, that would not be nice with Capo
At what
Caco.
point did they just become the New York Vultures? Like, they just soar over all these teams, and all of a sudden, your college free agent doesn't want to re-sign with it. And they swoop in, and
who doesn't want to live in New York?
You got a disgruntled European.
They could sell them on the city. Who doesn't want to live in New York?
And then
there are
you
a few
bring
people.
in some random Finnish anybody, and there you go.
Yep. Now, also, staying in Alberta for a second. I'm not sure if you saw last night, but Columbus and Calgary were playing. Kole Sherwood came off the bench.
Never heard of.
Spelled Kole, by the way.
I believe it.
Took a shot. Goalie saves it. Cole tries to dig it out, and Milan Lucic lands a punch right in his mouth. With the glove on.
Socked him.
And
kept
the
going when he was down, too.
the whistle hadn't gone.
Oh, no?
And when he went to dig out the puck, it was.
So I
idiot.
see.
Hold on, by the way, just a heads up. Lucic was suspended 2 games.
2 games. So I see there 2 players trying to do their job. There's Kole Sherwood trying to dig the puck out during a play that hadn't stopped.
Yes.
So I'd only seen the GIF. I hadn't heard, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Play hadn't stopped. All right.
It's like bang, bang, but it hadn't gone.
Sure. But that's his job.
Yeah.
Is to continue to try to score goals.
To play the game of hockey and score a goal.
Now, a bunch of people rightly pointed out, hey, can't dig at the goalie. So, no, even if it's legal, like if it's during play, I totally, you put him in a headlock, maybe you give him the stinky glove.
No, Steve. You punch him in the face.
Even a little cross check, all sorts of things that we see any given play. Lucic hauled off and glove on, drilled him.
It's an idiotic play. Call it what it is.
Okay, you stick up for your goalie. Totally. I'm on board. On board. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't glove on,
and that doesn't make you a tough guy.
The guy in the face.
That doesn't make you tough.
That's the
that makes you a
opposite
sucker.
of tough guy.
Yeah, makes you and
but I know. And
Lucic did Calgary a big favor though by getting suspended. I'm not kidding. He is a drag on that team. He has 3 assists in 16 games.
Oh yeah. How close are they to the cap though?
Calgary?
Yeah.
No. Now hold on. When you get suspended, does it not still count against the cap?
It counts against the cap, and that player needs to be replaced. Right? So if you don't have to call anyone up to do it, fine. It's only 2 games, so it probably doesn't affect Calgary. But,
Calgary is projected. Calgary's one of the teams that is just. They are 19,000 under the cap.
Wow.
So they wouldn't be able to call someone up.
Nope.
Hopefully they have a couple spares on the roster.
I assume they do. But the Leafs, like people were talking about, like, oh, they might have to play shorthanded or they might have to play without spares. So they cannot get suspended. There's another reason, by the way. So the Leafs knew how cap-strapped they would be. Dude, if Kadri gets suspended, they can't afford it. If he gets suspended, which he just does all the time, I'm sorry, I love him too, but don't pretend like he doesn't. If he gets suspended, they actually cannot afford it. So you're looking at, I don't know, do we play 15 players tonight?
But this situation just goes back to how bad of an offseason did Calgary have?
Well, that Neil trade is a disaster.
Yeah.
And that Neil signing was a disaster.
It was a disaster before we realized he would work this well with Edmonton.
I thought, it was a disaster the second they made it. It was
we
terrible.
were talking about it like, well, he might get back to like 15 goals.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a player, and we said this. We talked about this like 2 episodes ago. This is a player that regularly scored 25 goals. He had one season.
He's going to hit 15 by Christmas. By December.
But he had one season where he didn't. And that was
Last
enough.
Year,
and
with Calgary.
But again, and then I go back to this. Bill Peters consistently puts Lucic on the ice as the 6th man every time Calgary pulls a goalie. I'm sorry, but I got some questions about Bill Peters, man. I got some questions about his performance in Carolina. I got questions about why Calgary needed him so badly when they were looking for a coaching change. It had to be Bill Peters. They didn't go after anyone else. Why was it Bill Peters? It was set in stone before Carolina had even finished Game 82 that Bill Peters was going to be the Calgary head coach. Why, though?
That's what I've never been... And to get the goaltending that they got in the playoffs, and no offense to Colorado, who... is a legitimate cup contender when they're healthy. Oh, my God.
Yeah, seriously.
The last year's Calgary Flames, on paper, should destroy last year's Colorado Avalanche. They had 90 points. 90. That's it.
Squeaked in.
Now, hot end of the season, fine.
Yeah.
But to get the goaltending that they got out of Mike Smith and to lose, mind-blowing.
Well, and Calgary is in the second wild card spot right now. They've played to get into...
Leafs West.
Yeah,
are they not?
To get into, yeah, they are 100%. To get into the Central Division's top 3, they need. They're tied with Colorado for points, but Colorado's played 2 less games.
Yeah, Adam, take a gander at who's at the bottom of the Pacific. Take a gander at who's at the bottom of the West.
Boy,
take
Ottawa.
A gander at
Ottawa's having a good year.
Take a gander at who is tied for second last in the entire league.
Wow.
San Jose 4-10-1. That's rough. They have lost at least 5 straight. I've got the Sportsnet thing up, and it says it doesn't do last 10, it has last 5. I should pull up the NHL, but I would love to see.
They've lost 5 in a row. 3-6-1 in the last 10.
Yikes.
Buddy.
Bad.
That's awful.
Bad.
And I know St. Louis Blues were in last place in January, and they ended up winning a cup. Okay.
Yeah.
But at some point, you have a start that's so bad. Listen, I don't think you make or miss the playoffs in October, November, whatever, but it is possible to dig a hole so bad that you can't crawl out of it. Okay, you're 3-4-3 in your first 10.
But
okay,
everybody
that's
will
different
say,
from
but St.
07-1.
People will say, but St. Louis.
Dude, St. Louis wasn't that far behind the pack.
Well, they were last at one point.
They were last, but it's like how the Leafs, they were the best last place team of the last 10 years or whatever. They weren't catastrophically behind the pack. Neither were the Blues. The Sharks are getting there, man. And the Sens are... Who's having a better tank than the Sens right now?
Yeah, they're having fun. They're pressure.
They themselves are in last, and a team whose pick they possess is in second last.
They're having a good time.
It's awesome.
So they could have 2 picks in the top 3.
And Detroit's looking like, how do they do it? This is so unfair.
Well, first off, you don't re-sign all your bad veterans until they get worse and worse and worse. Re-signing Vanek for 3 years in a row. Come on.
Can I place
Or it was come on.
November Stanley Cup bet?
Okay.
Ooh.
I'd like to say it before they start taking off. The Nashville Predators this year are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Before they take off.
Before they get even better.
I was about to say, what?
Why do you say that?
Yeah, why do you say that?
2 words. Pecorine. 7-0. 920 save percentage.
That's the guy you want.
That's the guy I'm backing this year.
What a weird goalie.
That's a good horse to back.
I think
he's on his good year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Next year he'll be bad again. Bobrovsky, it's him and Bobrovsky alternate. So Bobrovsky's having an awful year. Next year Bobrovsky will be a Vezina candidate and Rene will be awful. That's just the way it works.
Anyways, I like how they're looking. Who is it? Nick Bonino. 11 points, 14 games.
How is Nick Bonino?
I don't know how they're doing it. Matt Duchene's looking great. Colton Sissons is having a great year.
Boy.
Just all these guys who are guys just putting it together.
Guys.
You know?
Yeah, there's
like Nick Bonino's just a guy, but he has 11 points already.
But with goalies, we are seeing a bit of a throwback to the 90s where, with the exception of 3 or 4 guys, you don't know who's good on any given night. Mm-hmm. I know John Gibson's good. He's going to be great every night. But Pekka Rinne. I'm trying to think of a 90s equivalent of this guy. I mean, I would compare Pekka Rinne to Pekka Rinne. He's like jacked Mike Smith a little bit. Really tall Jonathan Quick. He either can't stop a damn thing or he's unbeatable.
Jonathan Quick, who's fallen off the face of the earth this season.
It's okay. They only have him for, what, 6 more years?
Oh, yeah.
Is that really the deal?
Who signed that deal? Was that Dean Lombardi?
Probably.
It smells like a Dean Lombardi contract. But I don't know if it could have been because the maximum he could have signed was 8. When was Dean Lombardi let go?
I can't remember.
Had to be more than 2 years ago.
Can't remember. But, I mean, it was also difficult to justify not giving him 8 years because, dude, I won you 2 cups. Like, won you 2 cups. It was me. I did it. Oh, those stats
It might be the Roman Yossi
stink
thing.
in the regular season.
The Roman Yossi
That's so
thing.
weird because I allowed -2 goals a game throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, what a weird
Just find a
goalie.
new regular season goalie.
Goalies are fun.
Did you see the Adam Lowry hit? Adam Lowry just came back from a suspension for a hit to the head, and then he hit Alex Tuck last night in a game.
did not.
So it was a collision that...
Isn't Tuck just coming off injury, too?
Yeah, he was.
Gee.
And so... So interesting.
Let me see if I can find it.
And there's
I'll pull it up.
You'll pull it up?
Yeah, if Jesse will pull it up here. But
Jesse, pull it uppy?
it's one of those hits where I feel like Lowry, even if it wasn't an intentional headshot, he did make head contact, so that means it's a hit to the head. But the refs didn't really call anything, so the next face-off, Ryan Reaves is out there, and Adam Lowry has to face him.
Yep.
And it was a pretty even tilt.
Sure.
But the reason I bring up Ryan Reaves is to bring up a tweet from Evander Kane, which is a response to Ryan Reaves from 2 weeks ago, who Evander Kane is just getting on Twitter now to talk about it, which he tweeted this afternoon. So look at the hit
Jesse's
first.
showing me the hit.
I'll show you the fight, too, if you want to see it.
Oh, it's from behind? Here, can I see that one more time? Okay.
Yeah.
He does get him right in the melon.
Yeah. So whether or not it was intentional or
That's
not,
not
it's
a
still a
good
hit to the head.
No, it's on the more borderline side of things, but it is direct to the head. And Tuck is sort of, his head's down, he's reaching a bit, but again, it's not good when you just sandwich a player's head. It's a little bit on the nose, isn't it? It's a little bit, here's what the hit was. Yeah, it's tough. Especially after the game after he gets suspended.
Right, and then there's the tilt if you want to see it.
Sure. Ooh, fan angle. Sorry. Getting punched by Ryan Reaves must suck.
I think it hurts.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, Lowry,
Yeah.
he did what he had to do. Okay, I know I have to fight you, and he didn't get his ass kicked.
Yeah, it's a real NHL fight.
Yeah.
That's not a staged fight.
Right.
Now, Evander Kane, the reason I bring up Reaves is because Reaves, I think, made fun of Evander Kane in the WHL when they used to play each other. There was some sort of thing, and I'm going to pull
Reaves
it up.
that young?
Well, Reaves, hold on. No. Don't look it up.
Sure.
No.
Let me find this insult because I think it's important.
Well, he said Reaves just keeps insulting Kane, so who knows when it's from.
It's from late September.
They're not in the same weight class, those two.
So
I don't know why Kane keeps going him. They would never fight in the UFC, put it that way.
right.
Reaves has got at least 50 pounds on Kane.
And they don't like each other.
No.
But I'm trying to look at this. What did he say about the WHL? Anyway, there was some sort of chirp about the WHL. And about Reaves said something along the lines of, when we played in the WHL, Evander did this, and it made Evander look bad. So Evander has now, a month later, come out and tweeted him back.
He's trying to
Yeah, so he's just waiting. And so basically,
Make a social
he
event.
asked the same thing that you just asked. He said at Revo75, maybe it's one too many hits to the head, ? You never played a single game against me in the WHL, believe me. Have to start calling you Mr. Rogers for all this make-believe you spit. And so...
Shut up.
Terrible.
God, that's so weak.
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers?
So they only...
That's who you picked?
So Reaves Evander Kane only played 8 games for the Vancouver Giants in 06-07. That was the only year they could have crossed over in the WHL because that was Reaves' last year in the WHL with the Brandon Wheat Kings, and then he went to Alaska to play in the E that next year. So there was only 8 games.
He's an E guy.
He's an E guy.
Okay.
And an A guy. So I guess there would have only been like 8 games where they could have crossed over and they didn't play. So it's interesting because there was some sort of chirp around that, and I can't find it for some reason. But it was very funny that they just hate each other so much.
And it's great. It's great. Like I loved seeing the Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns stuff.
I got it.
Okay.
So they asked him on Sportsnet After Hours with Scott Oak.
They asked Kane.
They asked Reaves about Kane. This was a while ago. They said, where did it start, basically? And he said, well, it might be like longer than 9 years ago. We didn't like each other in junior. It started kind of early in my career. Him running around, and then I challenge him, and he always says he's gonna beat me up, but he never fights me. It was just constant chirping, never doing anything about it. Kane then responded to Reaves today saying, hey, we never played each other in the WHL. So
that's kind of funny.
So that's funny. But
right.
I give the W to Reaves on this because look at who he's playing for versus who's Kane's playing for. And Kane leads the Sharks in goals this year. But the Golden Knights are at least in the second wildcard spot right now. Kind of funny. I love the rivalry between those two guys. I really do. Hey, how do we feel about the Preds throwback jerseys?
Oh, they're terrible.
The throwbacks to the time where there was no throwback because they were a 90s team.
They're every shitty throwback jersey. Ooh, our name but in cursive. Like, no, it's terrible.
What? Somebody at the event
the
yesterday...
Yellow Jets, that's what they look like.
Somebody at the event yesterday said what would have been much better is if the crest on the side, I don't know if you saw the crest on their shoulder, was they
tiger?
reinvented the Predator jersey logo.
Okay.
And
the saber-tooth tiger?
The saber-tooth tiger.
Yeah.
If that had been on the side, then it would have been much, much better.
Dude, you have an ancient mammal as your logo, and it should always be your logo because it's so incredibly badass.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care how you got to reimagine it. Oh, it's sideways, and now we're gonna make it dead on. Don't make it cursive writing.
Okay, so somebody
like
responded,
everyone else.
Somebody responded with a banner of the Nashville Predators, like one that they should bring up to put up in the rafters, and it says "worst use of Microsoft Bush script." Because that's the font.
Dude, it's terrible. It's terrible. You're Jesse's showing me right now. It doesn't even. Name Tags Hockey was pointing this out. Like, it doesn't even look well placed between the lines.
No. No, it doesn't.
Oh, it's cursive and it's diagonal cursive. You know what sucks about it is, like, the yellow laces and this, like, that's actually a nice jersey. What are you doing with that writing?
Yeah, they just screwed up the entire middle portion of it.
What are you, the Tennessee Bruins? Like, what is that?
Yeah, it's weird.
And even the stripes at the bottom, that's a Bruins jersey. You could easily, in cursive writing, put Boston Bruins. And it's a Bruins jersey. Or Pittsburgh Penguins. And, the NHL, man. You know what sucks is at the beginning of the year, I was talking about, the NHL was really on a roll with these third jerseys. The outdoor jerseys for the Jets and the Flames were so good.
That should just be their jersey.
There were so many other really good alternates that came out. I'm trying to remember them all, but they were so good. We were really on a roll.
Can I be honest with you about something? I'm really tired of the alternate jersey thing.
If it's good. It's gotta be
I'm just
good.
tired of it.
Fans love it, though.
I
know that.
I'm just saying me.
Okay.
Steve doesn't like numbers and NHL contracts. I don't like...
we all got our thing, I guess.
You know what I like? I like the fucking Yankees. The Yankees have never changed.
Here's our jersey.
Here's our jersey.
They're an Italian restaurant where you can't say no pepperoni. You can't... This is our pizza, dick.
This is it. This is our jersey.
Yep.
And I know the Leafs, and everybody's going to be like, well, the Leafs have had many, and you have a couple of them. I know. I'm done now. I'm done. I don't think, I know this is a fad and a trend, but I do think it waters down the importance of the logo itself. I really don't think... I think,
there
and
are
I'm
rumors
rarely.
that the Leafs are coming out with an alternate this year too.
I know. I am rarely a
Alternate
traditionalist, and I also don't like the Leafs. If that's the logo that they're coming out with,
Like the TO.
I think it's awful.
I don't think that's a real. I think that's
I
somebody
sure hope
mocked,
not, 'cause
mocked
it's
that
awful.
up, and
But-
that got spread on Reddit.
And yet, the arenas thing's cool. The St. Pat. I own a St. Pat's jersey. I get it.
The Aretinas. Well, you're actually throwing back to something.
Yeah, because that actually happened.
Yeah. When were the Preds cursive?
Well, the Preds didn't play in the 30s, right? And that's okay. But I just feel like I'm sort of done with this because I'm rarely a traditionalist in anything. But these jerseys should mean something. These jerseys should mean something. And I'm a big believer that, I'm glad the Leafs went back to the logo that they went to because it's the original logo
Right.
with a few modifications. But that's what it always should have been. And the only reason it changed was because Harold Ballard was an asshole. But it was always going to be that logo. If Stafford Smythe, by the way, look this up. If Stafford Smythe doesn't lose the Leafs to a shitty deal to Harold Ballard, that logo never changes to the shitty logo it was for 40 years. And
For any Preds fans
at,
listening to this, sorry to cut you off, but for any Preds fans listening to this, imagine if the Preds just had the Tennessee Titans logo at center ice.
Yeah.
That's what happened to the Leafs for a while. Actually, it wouldn't even be the Tennessee Titans. Imagine they just had the Jacksonville Jaguars.
yeah, it was or some local.
The Hamilton Ticats logo was at center ice.
Yeah, no, he's an asshole. But I look at these jerseys and go can we just enjoy the jerseys that we have? Why can't I understand it's a sales ploy, but if you look at what profitable the profit for jerseys is negligible for NHL teams. It's probably $4 or $5 million.
But it's not
That's
the team.
not-
It's brands like Fanatics who are making the money.
I know, but I
they're
think it's
trying
crap.
to sell the jerseys.
I think
to
it
make
waters
money.
down the brand. I really do. Would Nike change their logo this many times? Nike
No.
has different paint for their logo, but
a
Nike is
swoosh.
Nike. It's a swoosh.
It's a swoosh.
Why?
But Nike
why does-
would initiate city jerseys for all the NBA teams
For
so
sure,
they can
because
sell 30 more jerseys every year.
Right.
It's just sales.
I hate it. I fucking
I don't
hate it.
hate business.
I don't hate business. I don't for the traditionalist in me.
Yeah.
And this is rare that it comes out. I don't like it. Leave the jerseys the way they are. But yeah, go make your money. And obviously, I have a few of them myself.
I don't
I am a
mind.
hypocrite,
I
is
don't
my
mind.
point.
Oh, I mean, we all are. Welcome to the Hypocrite Podcast.
Starring Steve Hypocrite.
Starring, absolutely. Hey. Something. I was trying to think of all the times I've been wrong, and there were too many, and my brain fried for a sec. I have no problem with alternates, but the cursive, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. And it's for a Winter Classic game?
Yeah. for
Well,
the
that's so
outdoor
weird
game.
because they never do that for that. Stop. It's boring. Dude, you literally dug up a saber-toothed tiger skeleton when you were making your arena. How do you not base it on that? How do you not make it like some sort of cold, blizzard-ridden saber-tooth? I don't know, something, anything with the badass origin of your team and not just Nashville Predators in some sort of... were those jerseys made on a Cricut machine? You get the calligraphy from Michaels?
I think it was just easy.
It's boring.
It is boring.
Yeah.
Boston
Apparently,
Bruins.
so apparently, and this
Pittsburgh
is kind of neat. There are drawings, and I don't know how official this is, but at NHL to Houston has suggested that a Canadian American conglomerate has committed to bringing an NHL franchise to Houston. The NHL has no interest in this, but there is a conglomerate that wants this, and I'm sure there is. Whatever.
Richard
Yeah.
Petty made a great point. And it wasn't about Houston. It was about supposedly there's
the second team
a
in the-
group who wants to bring another team to Toronto.
is not
and it's going to
happening, by
have
the way.
25,000 seats.
Every 2 years, every
Mark
8
'em, mark 'em,
months, you
mark 'em.
hear it, and they're like, "Oh, here's our thing." And
It's
it never
not.
It's a
happens.
$2 billion price tag.
It's absurd.
Before you even play a game, it's
Yeah.
$2 billion. Who's going to do that?
But he's like, I know you're going to fail because you went public with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this has not gone public. This is just, they didn't mention who it was. But anyway,
Remember Hamilton?
hang on. Let me get to this. Guys. This is really cool.
That would have bombed
because
so hard.
because they're right. The actual arena itself is kind of a neat idea, and this is why I hope this happened. It would be the first ever open air NHL arena concept. A retractable roof and an adjacent high rise business
Texas?
office. Well, okay, guys, it would just be like I'm sure they could figure it out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the technology's there.
Yeah, I just think it's cool.
They're gonna play outdoor games in hot weather climates.
And they want to do one in
But-
Mexico City, so
yeah.
I'm sure they can figure it out in Texas.
Okay,
But-
but like it's gonna rain.
That's why it's retractable, Steve.
Oh.
It wouldn't be completely open air.
Sorry,
Retractable.
Listen, we're at the end of the show.
I'm just
I'm
saying
not
it's a
my
cool
sharpest.
idea.
I'm on the second
And I
half
would
of my back-to-back.
And it would be, even when it was down and covered, it would still be a glass roof.
Yeah, it'd be like a baseball
That'd be kinda
stadium.
neat.
You know?
How would you pull that up? I mean,
Well,
yeah,
because most
cool
of the games
idea.
are at night. But you'd see the sun go down and watch the hockey game.
It'd be like,
Kinda
you ever
neat.
seen the Milwaukee Brewers where they play?
Yeah.
I can't really think of it now.
No, okay. A lot of baseball teams have the new ones.
Brewers.
The new
Well,
ones
the-
have stadiums.
Well, the Jays have a retractable roof, so you've seen that,
yeah,
right?
I have seen that.
With the Rogers Center.
Yeah, have you seen
don't
the
get it.
Cowboys Stadium? It's got
I'm trying to remember.
significant glass portions. I believe Atlanta does too. Don't the Hawks have a big window?
Atlanta has like a little hole in the top.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're
Yeah.
a little different too. Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of a neat idea.
It's definitely doable by the science.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down.
All
I'm
right,
down
now,
for new.
Let's talk about a couple things. First off, Easter seals.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Just
yesterday,
a recap
yeah.
of the event. My goodness. So yesterday, man, surround yourself with good people. Mm-hmm. It's great. It pays off.
You people, you might call them.
Well, I was going to say you, Adam, and I was going to say you, Jesse, and also Mike Schmidt. Without you guys, I wouldn't have been able to pull off the event at all. We went to Scotiabank Theatre. We played NHL 20 for 3 hours.
Could have played for 3 more.
Could have
Yeah,
played for 3
really.
easily.
It's a lot of fun.
I played threes with someone against Jesse and someone, and we beat them. Sorry, I just had to. Just had to point that out. But I auctioned off some jerseys and some other things, and people showed up, and we had the live stream up, and you guys were helping out with that. I believe about 13,000 people have seen the live stream now.
Nice.
Who knows how many people were there in person. And the amount of money we raised, it's still unofficial. I think we made about $5,000 worth of like auctions at the event. About $12,000 was donated just to my page during the event.
Amazing.
During those 3 hours. Donations of note. Nick Gould, again, another $5,000, bringing his total up to 13. Mike Schmidt's whole family basically donated, and I don't have the brain power, or didn't have it last night, to tally that total. So on top of like footing the bill for the theater, helping out with the actual stream itself, and then the donations, he's just an absolute angel that's been helping out with this. And Natalie Olds, who made a very big donation last year, just before I left for the show today, donated $1,834.88 for Janssen, Matthews, Nylander for that whole line,
Wow.
which is something she did last year. So now that everything's all said and done with the event, I've raised over $50,000. Our team has raised over $60,000.
Crazy.
We're going for 69, but once we tally up all the money, because like that's not even including the money from the event, we're going to be over $69,000. Mike Schmidt is going to match the money that we made at the event, so that's going to bring
Wow.
us up. Like I'm genuinely starting to think 100.
Wow.
I don't know if we'll get there, but like 80s within reach. I think 90s within reach.
Be great.
It's wild. It's wild. So thank you so much to everyone who even watched the stream. If you've made a donation at any point, we're still taking donations, but I think I've bugged you enough, and it's obviously worked.
Hey,
so I'm going to continue bugging you
now,
because it worked.
I hit my goal, my fundraising goal finally.
Oh my God,
of
you got like
69,
3 Gs.
Got $3,000 from one guy, Mahesh. And Mahesh said, listen, if I've donated $3,000, that should mean that Adam has to eat a ghost pepper. And everybody at the event agreed. Now, I say that instead of eating it in this room,
Yes. You eat it in the next room.
No.
No?
I eat it on Thursday night show at Regular's Bar in Toronto, and I'll eat it to start the show. So the first thing we do is I'm going to have the pepper, and then I'm going to do an hour-long show afterwards. Nope.
No, you're not.
That's what we're going to do?
No.
Adam, here, be quiet for a second. I need to have a quick conference with Jesse. That's a terrible idea, right?
Yeah.
That's a really bad
So
idea.
who doesn't want to show up to see that?
No, but we'll do it at the end of the show. We'll do it before the game starts.
We're doing it at the beginning.
It's 2 versus 1.
Jesse,
Yeah.
how do you want to handle the You and I show? Because Adam's going to be out of commission, and I don't think he realizes what he signed up for.
Yeah, because if you eat it at the beginning, we're not going to have a show.
Yeah, we will.
How?
I will fight through it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
They just got to play better without the puck. Yeah, I don't know. I think Willy's got the crown again. That's going to be you. That's going to be your contribution to the show.
I think I'm going to be able to do it.
Okay.
I think we don't let you do that, and we do it towards the end.
Adam, you're a grown man, a father even.
Mm-hmm.
You do whatever you want, buddy.
Listen, I think that people will show up at Regulars for the show anyway, but I think they'll want to see it, and they want to see someone grit their way through it.
Oh, you'll be
And
regular, all right.
And I'm going to grit my way through it.
Okay.
So there you go.
Sure.
Friday might be a bad day, but Thursday's night's going to be a lot of fun at Regulars downtown Toronto.
Okay, buddy.
So we will see you there.
Oh, my God.
We'll see you there. Let's do the press conference quickly.
No, we don't have any trivia.
That's okay. Do we have any questions?
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Can't even read that. My eyes are so blind.
Question for Adam.
Okay.
This is from _imperfect.
Only slightly.
Slightly imperfect. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the German 8th Army from World War I. Do you think their success was more due to A, the withdrawal of troops under the direction of Hindenburg and Ludendorff to prevent
you got it right.
overextension, or B, are you listening? This is B, or B, the complete lack of encryption on the radio transmissions of the Russian forces.
They're talking about Tannenberg.
I don't know.
They're talking about the biggest battle on the Eastern Front in 1914.
Yeah,
so,
what was their
so
success due to
80,000 Russians surrendered because they were surrounded. And I think it absolutely had to do with both. I think you had superior commanders.
It was
and I think,
A or B.
And you had Russians who literally were like, hey, we're going to go here. Cool? Okay, that's where we're going to go. No encryption in their radio. So the Germans were listening. And they're like, okay, they're going to go there. And that's where they went. And so the Germans were like, well, we'll see you there. And they surrounded them, and they took them over, and it was disastrous for Russia. Absolutely disastrous.
But which one was more apparent to the?
I'm going to go with
which one.
The only
was A or
reason
B?
that I'm going to go with superior command always. But yeah, it helped that they knew exactly where the Russians were going to be, and exactly when, and exactly what their supply situation was, and exactly there was 80,000 Russians there, but only 40,000 rifles, because the Russians, like an enemy at the gates, which you see at the beginning, like in World War II and in World War I, they showed up and said, sorry, there's only enough rifles for half of you.
What?
So you carry the bullets, you carry the rifle. When he goes down, you grab him, and
You take his gun from his dead body?
100%, especially at the beginning.
Literally.
Especially at the beginning of the war.
Holy crap.
Towards 1916, 1917, they started to get their shit together, and then the Bolsheviks took over at home. But they would actually do that.
Yeah.
Imagine you show up to war. Oh, we can't really give you an outfit, so just wear your clothes. We have no shoes, and here's a rifle. But yeah, we're totally going to go to war now.
Yeah.
Great idea.
You're so wasted on this podcast.
No, I'm not. I would be terrible in it. You know how bad I am with details? History is all about details.
That's true.
I would be awful. I'd have to script everything.
Oh, dude, I took a couple history courses in university, and which were electives. Like, what a psycho! Like, why would I do that? Your elective is supposed to be your easy course.
Yeah, no, history's tough.
And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll take a 3,000 word essay, thanks. But no, I had a really hardcore professor in one of them who was like, listen, if you get so if it's 10 steps for your answer and you get one of them wrong, all of your answers after that wrong one, including the right ones, are wrong.
What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. So, like, if you got up to 4 right and then you got number 5 wrong, guess what? 4 to 10.
That's because that's how history works, though.
That's how
'Cause
history
if you're
works.
wrong on the 4th step, you're wrong the whole way.
Yep.
Even your assumptions are wrong. He's not wrong in that, and that's the thing.
And I was like, cool elective.
History is
cool.
I did the same thing. I was like,
that's kind of very interesting. The way he's teaching you.
Even
like
if
that.
you're right, you're wrong.
Totally.
You're right for the wrong reasons. It's the reasons why in history that you need to. So that I love history, but I have no interest in proving history.
Mm-hmm.
Proving history sucks. And I remember I walked into my first elective, which was history, because I was like, oh, I like history. I've always done well at it. And in Ryerson, and the professor puts his books down and goes, you will spend, at the end of the class, you will spend between 10 and 15 hours a week at the library in this class. And I said, well, that'll be the last time I'll be in this class then. And I went and dropped it.
Yep.
I was like, yep, nope, see you later. I'm not doing that. I will not succeed. I do not have the attention span.
I had a
just
buddy
don't.
who, like,
It's good that you
got
know
on
yourself.
Yeah, I knew myself enough at 18 to know
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
I had a buddy who got on his computer during a class, dropped the class online during the class, and then just walked out.
Good for him.
Like, what a legend.
I should have done that. Why did I go to the registrar? I should have just dropped it then.
Excuse me, madam. Ring, ring. Yeah, no, it's very old school of you.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, good times.
That's fun.
Yep.
Get in your history questions for the history portion of the press conference. We'll be doing it live with Dan Carlin on Thursday.
By the way,
because Dan Carlin,
Jeff Merrick got to do a Dan Carlin Q&A. He got to
What?
host one.
He was on stage.
I didn't even know Dan Carlin was in town.
He was
What?
on stage
What?
hosting an event where he got to, like, ask Dan Carlin
when?
questions.
Like last week. I'm so upset. I had no idea. I would have been there in a heartbeat.
I should have told you. I couldn't go. I should have told
Oh,
you that.
man.
You knew.
I knew.
But
Heathen.
Traitor. By the way,
What would history say about Steve Dangle?
it would not look favorably upon thee. I also want to throw this out there. I have listened to.
face.
By the way, if you haven't listened to Dan Carlin's new series on hardcore history, it's about the rise of the Japanese Empire. Really fascinating stuff. So I finished that this weekend, and then I downloaded his new book. And boy,
He's got a new book.
his book is all about the end of the world, and the
great.
various incarnations of the end
What's
of
it
the
called,
world
Twitter?
throughout human history.
Sorry.
No, it's about how it's called The End Is Always Near, and it's about how different societies viewed the end of the world and how they always thought it was coming. And it's so fascinating. It's so Dan Carlin. So it's another podcast essentially. And it is
Right.
just incredible. So download that book. Just amazing.
Wow, look at this. Hardcore History Podcast host talks The End Is Always Near with Sportsnet host Jeff Merrick, 6:30, October 28th.
Hey, guys.
Steve knew.
Yeah, sure.
Tickets were only $11.50. Adam, do you happen to have $11.50?
Yeah.
Do you have a way to get to Hot Docs in downtown Toronto?
I think I could figure it out.
He could have been there. If he had just known the day and the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? So,
You guys follow Jeff Merrick on Twitter?
yes.
Sounds like y'all
I
better be
occasionally hear from
adults
Jeff Merrick on text.
and take some responsibility for yourselves. You know what? I know I should have motivated you to go there, but you guys are $11 million players. You should just know.
I want to bench you.
You should. But also, like, you're fired.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.